Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another one of our video game showcases. Really looking forward to tonight. We got an early look at Cutthroat Caverns, but now we're going to go in depth. Not only do we have James Simpson and Kimmiko with us, but we have the developer of the Cutthroat Caverns card game. That's him, Covert from Smirk and Dagger and Smirk and Laughter, but that's a whole different line of games. And we're looking forward to the discussion tonight, both showing off the game and talking about making the card game and taking it to mobile, what we're all interested in. Now, we do have some other streams coming up this weekend. We're combining with PlayOnCon and Indie Cluster and Cellbloc Studios. Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern, we'll again be streaming. That will be with Ron Jones from the Indie Cluster and Tripwire Interactive, and Karen Williams from the IGDA and Hiccup Interactive and others as we talk about how to be a game tester. That's not just how to get a job as a play tester, but how to provide feedback for the games you love, and for you indie devs, how to get the right feedback from the people playing your games. So valuable for everyone. And then, of course, on Saturday, we have James Simpson returning to give us an intro to Unity. Great refresher for everyone. And if you have friends who haven't played around with Unity, get them in there. They'll love it. James promises us that it won't completely melt their minds. They will come out enlightened, enthused, and ready to create great things. Still planning on our GGDA meeting on Tuesday the 13th. Trying to finalize the topic and all, so more information about that soon to come. And congratulations to our friends at the Jennifer Ann's Group. They just had 2 of their games win educational awards. Jennifer Ann's Group is one of the best nonprofits in the gaming industry. We'll try and post links to the games that they just did. Wonderful stuff. Congratulations to Drew Crescenti and everybody he's been working with. Now, it is my pleasure to go ahead and shut up and turn this over to Kimmiko, James, and Curt. Take it away.
Well, hello everyone. I am Kimmiko. This is James.
Yeah.
And,
Hey. Hi.
and Curt.
Hey, hi everyone.
So let's start off just talking about introducing ourselves as far as who you are, James, what you do, and then Curt as well.
Sure.
Well, hi. My name is James Simpson, aka Dr. Unity, and owner of Cellbloc Studios. I have been using Unity for about 13 years now. I actually started when it was only on a Mac. It tells you how long ago that was. It's something I use daily. I really enjoy the engine. I've been programming since about last 36 years. It's a passion of my life, and I like building games. I'm good friends with Andrew Greenberg, and he asked me to show this off, and I'm happy to bring over the person who made all this possible, Curt Covert.
Hey everybody. Yeah. So I'm the owner of Smirk and Dagger Games, and for the past 17 years, I've been making board games and card games. One of which, of course, is Cutthroat Caverns, which is probably one of my better-known titles. It was one of the first semi-cooperative games, and it's a game that I had always wanted to bring to the digital space, and had tried on 3 different occasions to do so. That completely crashed until James came into the picture and said he had a passion for the project, wanted to do it, and was unfazed by a lot of the past failures and some of the challenges in creating this game for the app. So, yeah.
All right. So my first question to you, Mr. Curt. I love your banner in the back that says Smirk Dagger Games, because games are a lot more fun when you can
Dab a friend in the back.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah.
You can stab a friend in the back, which leads to the Cutthroat Cavern. So, is it Cutthroat Tavern or Cavern?
Caverns, yeah. And yeah, for 14 of the years that I've been in business, I dedicated myself to the art of the take that game, backstabbing games, because they're really emotionally evocative. There's lots of, it's emotional roller coaster as you're playing. You're cursing people's name, you're shaking your fist, and you're laughing all the way as you're doing it. I love that kind of energy at the table, and so that's what I specialized in for 14 years. And now, since then, I've kind of expanded it, and I'm doing a lot of other games. In fact, the three most recent that I'm working on are all cooperative games, which is very different for me. But yeah, and so Smirk and Dagger was born with the intent of being nasty to other people.
Well, tell us a little bit first about the game as far as how it started, the Cutthroat Cavern games, like as a board game or card game. Like, what is the essence of how the game works before we get into the app version of it?
Sure. Yeah. Well, so Cutthroat Caverns is a card game, and you're forced to work together as you are trying to escape these caverns of horrible creatures in them. You found this one relic of ultimate power, almost like the ring in the Lord of the Rings, and it's cast such a spell over you that you'll do anything to have that one treasure. And that means you might betray your own kind. It's like having Boromir as every player at the table. So, but in the game, you are trying to kill, land the final killing blow on the most creatures to gain the prestige from them. And if you work together, there's a great chance that you're going to survive and actually, get out of the caverns alive. But you're not going to win if you don't trip someone, edge them out, critical miss them, and do all kinds of other terrible things. All in an effort to take that short-term goal of gaining the prestige, killing the creatures, and getting that prestige for yourself. So that's the broad strokes of the game.
So everyone gets a chance to get a different race or something like that, or how does that work?
Well, the characters themselves, and I suppose James, you want to switch? I think we only have one sharing screen here. Hold on, I'll switch.
Go ahead. You're good.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the Cutthroat Caverns box, and as you can see, there are the kind of 6 standard adventurers, but in the core game, they are really not different from each other. It's really more about what you're willing to do to get the upper hand than what particular abilities you have. Though that certainly did come up in future expansions, of which there have been 5, and we did finally this collab with Cellbloc to get the app done, which ended up getting nominated for an Origins award, just like the base game did when it first came out in 2007. But as I mentioned, what you're really doing is you are trying to go from room to room, defeating creatures, and all of them are built as separate mini games, and all of them have a little bit of a honey trap. You would do well just to work together and defeat the creatures, and thereby you're not going to take more damage and you're going to live to the end. But the honey trap is, I'm going to give you some kind of reward to do something terrible to everyone else. And it may even doom you all, because it's possible that no one wins Cutthroat Caverns. If you all die, nobody wins. So each of these little honey traps has been very carefully constructed to create behaviors that are sometimes counterintuitive, but you're doing it because you're looking for the gain, and that's what this is all about. So, for example, this is a great one, and right now we're looking at the actual images from the app. But hate is a great creature that really illustrates my point. Hate, when it comes out, has 0 life points. If no one did anything, this creature would go away and we wouldn't even have to face it. But it does deliver, as you can see here, 5 prestige points, and that's what we're all trying to get. So, what hate says is that each player can secretly discard a card from their hand. Now, if all of them are attacks zeros, then it's over, no prestige is awarded, and we can just move on. But if you put down the highest attack value, not only does that come out of your hand so that you are not going to be able to play it, but it's going to power up this creature. So, for example, in this example, someone said was going to be a team member, they put something called edge out, which is not going to count towards this. But other people are saying, well, you know what? I actually want to be first to get a swing in, and if I'm highest, I'm going to be first. So 10, 5, and 10. Well, what's happened is that all of these cards combined, these attack values, now become its life points and what it swings damage for. So if you put down 100 points, it's swinging for 100 points, which could kill you in one shot.
Yeah.
So you really should not engage with this thing, but the honey trap kind of forces your hand and puts something too tempting not to do. So in this case, the first player is going to end up being one of these guys, and it's got 25 life points. And then it's going to be swinging for 25 points, which is half of your total. So it'd be pretty rough. But that generally tells you a little bit about the game, how it works. And of course, the tricky part of it is that each of these encounters operates very differently. And that was actually the biggest challenge in developing the app.
Oh wow. I got into the game. I was like, ooh, I wonder what these little buttons do. So just looking at the interface just real quickly. We have a purple, yellow, green, and I guess the cards, and then some glowy card. What are those?
Right. So up at the top here, that is your prestige. That's what you're going to be, collecting to win the game. The highest point total, provided you are still alive at the end, wins the game. This is your health total. So as you can see, 40 is the high. It starts at 100 for a full game, but as you start dwindling down, if you hit 0, you are dead and gone and out of the game. Here, this green area means that you have item cards. These are special resources that are one-use items in the game, and this player happens to have 2 of them. And this is your current hand of cards, so you start with a hand of 7, and this player has 6 in their hand. This, by the way, is the initiative card, so every encounter, every combat round, you take one of these cards at random, and it'll sequence you from first to play all the way back to last to play. So you'll always know who's going first all the way through last, and there you can kind of, try to figure out how hard you want to swing to make sure that you're going to swing hardest to kill the creature without just giving it to someone else who swings after you.
Wow, that's so interesting. So at the beginning, now I want to kind of see the demo of the game. So let's switch back to the demo of the game.
You got it.
And
James, I'll let you take over here.
Okay.
I like your background, James. Looks like you're underground somewhere.
Is that Yavin?
It is Yavin. Very good.
3 points for him.
Hey,
right,
what do you guys see?
You.
Still me, huh?
Yep.
It's the only problem about having 3 monitors. Let's see here. How about
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so as Curt was mentioning, the way the game evolved for me is I was in a comic book store, and they had some board games, and I was like, okay, and I looked over and I saw this box, and it says Cutthroat Caverns. It says, I just like the name, and it had a little art style that kind of fancies me. I was like, that looks kind of cool, and so I picked it up, and I play Pathfinder and Dungeons & Dragons. I took it to my friends. I said, let's play this, and they're like, yeah, sure, why not? And yeah, there's an emotional toll that happens to you when you're playing this game, especially because you have to work as a team. So, we're all Pathfinder and Dungeons & Dragons people, so we're used to working together in a group. I may or may not have hit somebody in the head with a bottle at one point during one of these encounters, because, you're going to kill the swing to killing blow, and then the person edges you out or something of that nature. You're like, oh my god! Like Hate, for example. If I would have had a encounter card of armor where I don't take any damage, I would play the highest card in my hand, 100, because I know Hate will basically kill everyone else and I'll win. So you kind of have to work. Well, yeah, but remember, I got the armor on, so in theory, shouldn't get hit.
Yeah.
So this is the intro to the game. So as we mentioned, yes, and this is all Curt's artwork. He was instrumental in putting all this together. So he did the art and art style, and I assembled it and built the game behind. So I'm going to go to play. I'm going to go to, let's just say, a short length game. So there's only 3 encounters. I won't play the entire thing. I'm going to play as Vasha. Go ahead.
Okay, so now what we're talking about, this is an app. So this is basically going to be a mobile app, yeah?
This is a mobile app, yes, and you can find it on the iTunes Store and Google Play. Now, I'm throwing it on a PC here just because it's easier to show instead of like using BlueStacks or something. But otherwise, this is what's happening. And that was one of the interesting things that we talked about when we were building the game is there are certain parts in Curt's presentation you'll see where you have all these extra little cards, and we kept running out of real estate, because the phone's only so big, and we got to make sure, your thumb, your fingers can touch all these things, but not make it look so cluttered. Well, in this case, I'm going to play normal difficulty. I'm going to play as Vasha, and this is Vasha over here. So if I go to Vasha, it will say Vasha spills blood, hearts, takes what she wants, and trusts no one. Sunders hearts. So I'm going to go ahead and say confirm and play. Without teamwork, you'll never survive. Without betrayal, you'll never win. So I am in the bottom right corner. I'm going to be facing a battle troll. The battle troll is a warrior, so certain cards affect certain types. This person has 190 life points, which you see over here, and it gives you 4 prestige points. We all start off with, in this case, since I'm doing a normal short gameplay, we only have 40 health. So I'm going to say ready. Now the initiatives have been drawn. I go first. I do have 100, but because I'm going first, I don't want to. I want the prestige points. So it's like your high score. Whoever has a higher score, who lives at the end, is going to become the winner. So I want to hit them enough, but I got to guess what these 3 people are going to do. I see this person has 3 potion cards or item cards. This one has 1, and I have nothing. So I'm going to try and do. Let's talk about this card real quick. So with this card, you can affect people's card that are in play. So I'm going to attack 25, but based upon what people play against me, it can be rotated down, so I only hit for 15, or it can go to 0. But if it's protected and if it matches my character, I can actually hit for 50. So I know I have 100.
It's the little image.
Right down here.
Around. Yeah.
Okay, and then like this card right here, crowd. All attacks by the next 2 players are half this round. So if I know that someone has a high card, or I suspect they have a high card, and I don't want them to kill it, and I want to have the killing blow, I may want to play this card. So if this person, where's number 2? Yeah, if Nyx plays 100, it would go down to 50. So it would just rotate the card down to the next lowest level. I know I'm going to kill it, okay, if I can be initiative 1 or 2 on next time. So I'm going to try and do probably something close to 30 points of damage. So I'm going to set my card. And then, so now all the AI has taken over. Okay, so now see, she's going to add 30 to her next round. This person is going to play another card. Now he just hit for 80 because he rotated it from 40 to 80 and focus strength. So I already know this is 3. I'm not going to be able to kill it in time because right now she's going to add 30 to her hit and don't know what's going to happen here. And then he's also got an extra 30 to his attack too. So I may want to play the crowd right now to half their hits.
Oh.
Yeah.
This time.
Not this time.
Yeah. Now, it's important to say, too, that the original game plays from 3 to 6 players. The app itself is a solo version of the game. So the cards that you're seeing at the bottom of the screen, that represents your hand. The other 3 players are AI players that are designed to model different play styles that we've seen over the years, and we'll get into more detail on that. in a little bit.
Okay, now I'm going to want to. I have an option. Hang on, let me stop these notifications. Okay, I'm going to want. I have an option to get rid of cards, and it will. The next hand will get me up to 7. So let's just say I'm going to. I don't want to faint, so I'll discard that. I'm going to drop this 10 because I want high cards. So I'm down to 4, so I'm going to say tap to pass. Now I'm up to 7. Ah! And I have 100, but I don't have my armor. So I can end this game kind of really quick if I really want to be. So Hay will have the LP and damage equal to the total attack value. Now, if I want to be a team player, I can say faint. Okay, which will give 0 points.
To the creature.
To the creature. But you see, I have 2 100s. Okay,
so you think you can win?
I think I can win, and it will kill all of them, because if I get hit, I can use a counter strike, and then I could definitely kill it. So I'm going to just be a pain in the butt and go ahead and discard one of my 100s.
Well, wow. Now you are in big trouble, my friend.
We are all dead. We're all dead.
It's going to be striking for 260 points when it swings.
Yeah, I have 20.
But it always swings last, so you have 1 round try to kill it.
Okay, now, we have this thing called Slip Behind, but that's not going to happen because it's going to swing at the end. So if I put this card here, this is called a Rider. So my next turn, I can basically turn my attack card by 2. So if I had this 100, I can hit it for 200, but I'm not going to live that long.
No.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this one first, okay? Because I know when the counter strike happens, I can then hit it for 100, and hopefully someone else has damaged it enough. So I'm going to set this. I can hear Curt going, "That's nothing how I would have played it." So now I'm going to rotate it to 50.
And that's because it matched your character's face.
Yes.
That is not enough.
Not enough.
So it swung for 260 life points, which took Nyx out.
Yes. So it killed that one. Now I'm number 2, Nyx is number 1, so I should be able to hit it for 100.
That won't kill it. It's got 100.
But it won't kill it. Yes. And then that would be killed, but at least I don't die. Now, as you see here, Nyx, who is dead, had 4 prestige points. They still have 4 prestige points. Now, I'm going to steal this.
Doesn't mean anything, though.
Yes, it doesn't. Let's see here. I'm going to say tap to pass. So each 5 points, I'm going to say ready. So they're going to damage all their things. I'm going to cure myself for 15. I guess I could. This is probably the last round anyway. Might as well.
Or if you,
so I'm.
It's alright.
I could have tried. Yeah, I could have tried putting it on someone else. Let's see here. 195. But remember, I already wasted my 100.
Yeah, do the Slip Behind.
Okay. So this is my Rider card.
And it'll multiply by 2 your next attack. Apparently, Talon had the same idea.
Yeah. Now I can add 20 points to this person if I want to. It's like, you know what? Sure. I'll go ahead and do that. I want to get it down. And I have the ability, if I want to, they're going to redirect damage. So he's getting hit for damage. Okay? He's going to hit 5 points. I can say not on my watch. Okay? And that just basically null and voids their card. So he took 5 points of damage. Now, since I took 5 points of damage, I can counter-strike if I wanted to, and play 2 cards. But I'm going to wait till next. Exactly. I'm going to wait till my next turn. No, I'm going to wait. Because I could counter-strike their counter-strike. Okay, so I don't have a whole lot of good cards, but I'm going to be hitting for 80. So I guess I'll just play 40. And hopefully it will get down.
Nope.
And they're going to edge me. He's going to edge me out. So basically that card took me out of the game.
Well, out of the combat round.
Out of the combat. So I could edge out another person and be a pain in the butt, but I really need those life points reduced. Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't have much.
I'm still alive, though. I'm number 1. What do you think? Faint?
Yeah, probably right. Yeah, because you don't want to give you're first in initiative,
right?
So you don't want to give them the kill.
I want them to get it down to around 40.
There we go. Now we're looking better.
Yeah, I want to be number 2. Ah!
You're 1 again. You
I know.
can counter strike. You get an extra card and see if it's enough.
Okay, let's try it. I need what? 35. Oh.
Not gonna do it.
Not gonna do it. So I'm gonna play this one.
Play the 10. Oh, that's
should've...
right. You gotta play. Yeah, you gotta play both. You're right.
Yeah. Now I can edge out 2 people.
You can, because you don't even have an attack, so you better.
Correct. So I'm gonna play this.
No, you have to set one as an attack since you're out of attack cards. That's the one downside of not getting any attacks. You're gonna have to fake one down.
Hold on, I'm trying to figure. There it was.
Oh, okay.
Hold on.
Oh, there you go. Set it, because that's a kill.
Yeah, but I can't set it for right now.
Oh, did it glitch on you?
It couldn't.
That's perfect for a demo.
I know. I wonder why this set. Hang on. Select and set an attack card. Set 1 card.
Yep. So set it.
Oh yeah, we're right. We're right.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Oh.
Now I can go ahead and edge out.
Now you can edge out. Yep.
I'm gonna edge
2
out
and
that.
3.
Yep. And then hopefully I'm number 1, and I get an attack card.
Edge out again.
So basically, I just stopped them from having turns.
You get 1 card.
Yes.
Oh, no, it's not an attack.
Yeah.
Yep, you're gonna have to play it.
Let's do Talon, but I don't have attack card, so.
So that's.
Yeah. So as you see, I was ahead, and then I was behind, and I was ahead, and now the game is over.
With a Dane really racking up the points.
Yes. And I lost.
Yeah.
But did you see how, there was a possibility of me to win, especially with hate, and then I lost. So it's like I was in first place, and then in 1 round, I was in last place. And like this one, for the most part, I could have had it if I just had 1 more attack card. So that's kind of Cutthroat Caverns in a nutshell.
So what's the story behind it? Like what setting is it? Because it seems like it's in a setting where, why did you take off your game?
Oh, I can put it back on. Hold on.
Oh, here I can put the other screen grabs up.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, some questions about the interface and UI.
Oh, yeah, okay, that's fine. I'll put it back up. Hang on.
Okay. So, anyways, I was asking Curt about the storyline from it. Is there a particular storyline in particular overall with the caverns, or because I had a little bit of a Lich King kind of vibe with Lord of the Rings kind of vibe, so I just wanted to know what was your inspiration, or was there a story as you were making this game?
Well, so it's interesting. The game was first inspired by my days as a role player and playing D&D, and in high school, I had a very unusual role-playing group. It was me and 6 women, and we were all drama club kids, and as a result, our DM was a woman, and we played a very lawful, good Tolkien-esque. If you found a magic item, by God, it went to the person who could wield it best. It was that kind of, one for all kind of a game. So,
Oh, nice.
Contrasted with when I went to college and I started playing with a bunch of the dudes on in the dorm, and the DM allowed them to play like Chaotic Evil and Assassins, and I started looking around during our first session. I was no longer concerned about the DM or anything that they were going to throw at us, but the people who were playing with me, that was the real threat. They did some horrible things. I was just shell-shocked at what they would do to each other, and that feeling of kind of horror and shock is what I wanted to bring forward into a card game and keep that feeling throughout the game, where you really couldn't trust anyone, that everyone was out for themselves, and just staying alive at their hands was the goal.
And what's the normal length of one game? You would say
in the card game, yeah. In the card game, it actually allows you, just like in the app, to change that up. So it can play for 30 up to 90 minutes. So it really is dependent on how many encounters you face. So you can do a short game or a long game, and if it's a long game, you have more life points than if you have a short game. So the threat level's always there. Death is always very, very near. But yeah, you can normally in a full game for like that 90 minutes, it's a 9-encounter game. So you figure about 10 minutes per one of these encounters. Now, in the app, it's a little bit quicker because a lot of the stuff is automated. So in that same game, if you do a full game, probably goes down to like 20 minutes, where the short game you can do in about 5. So.
Oh, okay. And so, like, James, when you I know you played the game as a card game itself first, right?
Correct.
So what inspired you to say, hey, this is something that I really want to put in an app, put it all together? What inspired you to choose this type of game?
Well, like I said, I'm a medieval buff. I enjoy the medieval ages. It's just I always loved fantasy. Some of my heroes are like Larry Elmore for artists, Jeff Easley, Clyde, and Keith Parkinson. These people, they're like the 4 horsemen of TSR. And the art, granted, it was like cartoonish when I saw the cover, but I played the game, and I haven't recalled laughing that hard with friends, unless you're playing some of those, games that are made to be funny. But this game wasn't made to be funny. It was to work as a team, but at the same time, you're trying to get points, and I always play a rogue character in both Dungeons & Dragons and Pathfinder. So the concept of backstabbing and stealing was just like second nature to me. So I played the game with the friends, and we're still friends. But there was a lot of, I can't believe you did that to me. It's like, dude, we played Pathfinder together. It's just I don't change. So it was a lot of
cathartic, because a game like this, you end up. You get to be the villain. And, lots of times, we have our favorite villains and we like to root for them. In this case, you get to, step into the shoes of the villain, do dastardly things, and everyone at the table is laughing at the person who got the raw end of it. It's just one of those things. And especially if they get all churned up about it, it's even sweeter. So...
And also, as you started, how long did it take for you to kind of get the first set of the wireframes? I know you're the Unity guru, but how long did it take for you guys to start the wireframes up and everything?
Well, one of the first things I had to do was, after playing the game, I was like, I really want to play this. I live in Atlanta, and my friends are pretty far away. So if I want to play a game, this is kind of. We don't really do the Zoom meetings or anything. We like to actually sit around, eat pizza and Doritos and play. But all my friends are about 45 to an hour away, so I couldn't really play with them with Cutthroat Caverns. We tried doing it over the phone. That was an absolute fun nightmare. So I was like, I build games. So I was like, why not give this a try? And I talked to a couple people. They're like, yeah, actually good. So I contacted Curt, and Curt's like, okay, let me tell you a background story. This has been tried multiple times. He goes,
Don't do it.
don't do it. And it just so happens, I go to Gen Con. I work at a booth called Larry Elmore. And I said, screw it, I'll go ahead and meet this guy. So I walked over, and he's got like a line of people. So I took my time. I said, hey, this is James Simpson. I talked to you about his. Oh, okay. And we talked about it, and he was telling me all the challenges he's had with other previous companies that tried to do this. And I was like, I don't see the problem. And he was like, what do you mean you don't see the problem? I'm like, so it's just a bunch of little mini games. I build mobile apps, which are nothing but mini games. That's the whole concept of a mobile app. And he's like, okay, yeah, sure, we can try and put something together. And then over that time, Curt focused on the design layout and the wireframes. And we're all trying to get it into a 16:9 ratio, making sure it works on an iPhone, with the different resolutions and how to. We didn't want to have tabs. We didn't want people to have to worry about moving back and forth. We wanted as much as possible on the screen at one time. I mean, even here, I didn't like the fact that I have to click here to move the hand away. But at the same time, you need to know this information. I wanted it as very, like, if you're looking at the table is what I was trying to go over. So, I'd practice putting it down. I'd take photographs of it. I'll see if it fits within my frame, see if it's all legible. So there was a lot of just preliminary work of that, just making sure everything fits on there. It's like, okay, how do I show the prestige, your cards?
That was months, really, to try to figure that out.
It was, because we want to make sure it was as close to the actual gameplay as possible, because we could have done this differently, but I want, it was fun sitting there with my friends, holding my holding my cards, looking, going, okay, I know there's 4 100s in the deck, and he's already played 2. So I'm already counting cards, trying to figure out who has what at the same time. And, okay, and I can see certain friends of mine, they'll look at the card and go, ooh, they'll look at them like, okay, so they've, I can kind of, like, with their tails, it's a lot of fun. So we spent months doing that, and then we started doing the actual gameplay. So every encounter is essentially its own mini game. As you see for this one, I just got done fighting Anti-Paladin, which hits everybody for 5 points. Runecast cannot be wounded by attacks doing 40 points of damage or more. So in other words, you want to play all your cards that are less than 40. Strikes may play player 1 for 10 points. So I know this player is going to be hit for 10 points. I'm already looking at 35. I say, okay, they're going to get down to 25. So I'm already calculating what I want to be hitting with. And I obviously don't want to use a 50, because that's just wasting a card. But it was one of those, we wanted to have everything in this little carousel format, and that worked out really well. Pretty happy with how that turned out.
Thank you for making it legible. Like sometimes some games, they're like hard to read the words, and I'm like,
yes,
like squeezing my eyes together, thinking that it's going to help. No. But thank you.
So we like this... Yeah, we like this tween in and out so you guys should see. Mm-hmm. And these are all the exact cards. I mean, we took the actual graphics from the card game. So if you're playing this and you're playing the actual card game, it's exact.
Yeah.
So
and that was really something that was important to me. Obviously, this game has a long history and a big fan base, and we really wanted to recreate in the app environment a faithful port of the actual card game. And on top of that, the solo had to feel like you were playing with live players. So all of that, really was a pretty big challenge. And again, the first challenge being that, it's 27 games that had to get programmed, because some of them, it's little bits of data that get twisted around. Some of the other changes completely change everything. For example, you're not even fighting a monster. You're going to dump all your cards in the center of the table, and it's a trap room, and the first player to draw certain cards is going to get damaged for that amount that they drew. All of that had to be programmed from the ground up each time, and the GUI had to be different and everything else. So it was a challenge that stymied a lot of people. But again, James was not afraid about tackling 27 games.
Yeah. Not sure that was my best move, but yeah.
And how do you make them turn your cards different ways? Because I saw you guys doing it one way before.
What do you mean
So
by
how does
turn
that-
the card?
Oh,
like
that's
like the sides, like turn it to one side, like where
yeah.
it says.
In the card game, here's a great example. Oh, that card right there. You saw a little portrait at the bottom that had a character's face.
I got one right here.
There you go. So if you end up playing one of those cards, there you go, James. When it reveals, if it's your face, you have the option to make it double strength.
You may not want to.
You may not want to, but you can. And there are other cards, some of these blue cards, that you can change how much damage gets done by someone else. You might be able to half their damage or, do other things. So all of that is part of the gameplay. And when you have that option, it gives you the opportunity to click it and rotate the card.
Yeah, so
Okay,
I'm
and
going to
what
actually
about the
do
five?
this.
What about
Well,
the
that's
five?
what it is.
That's half damage.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So by
Oh.
what I'm doing right now, I'm playing an attack 10 card. But remember that one that I had? I think it was crowd. All your attacks are half the next two people. So if someone had played a crowd card and then I played attack 10, it would basically cut the damage in half. So now it's 5. So now if you see what I'm going to do, if the gods love me, I'm going to click set. There's 15 life points. You mud! Okay, so they're going to try and go first, so I'm going to edge this person out.
So that you get to go.
They can't go.
I love the fact that you just cursed the AI.
Yeah, I know. So now I'm going to play 20, and I killed it.
Woo!
So right
you
now
got it.
I have 6 prestige points, which means in theory I could throw the rest of the game because no encounter in theory are going to have 6 prestige or higher. So I'm going to discard this one, and I'll tap the pass. Oh!
Yeah, see. And now it threw a creature that if you don't work together, you're all going to die.
Wow.
Except I got 5 item cards.
Okay. This is a creature where it doesn't actually take damage, but the cards on the attack stack, that we've been seeing, underneath that 180, yeah, they're going to go to half damage every round. So in a round and a half, you have to have a total of 180 points on there, or it just keeps on living.
Yes. So I'm going to say ready. Potion of healing. Yes, he's going to heal himself. I am going to do. Let's see. I don't have it.
Well,
I was hoping to have the armor.
It goes well. So we actually have a question from Fa on YouTube. What are the plans for a PC version now that Windows 11 says you can play standard Android apps?
Well, we can't. I mean, this has the ability, because I'm using Unity, I have the ability to go ahead and export it out for Windows, Mac, and Linux if I so want to. But then I have to put it up on Steam. And Steam's a great organization. Usually sales on Steam are not the most, not very high. I do have the ability to put it out for Xbox, PlayStation, and Switch if I so want to. But I want to make sure I have the other expansions in there first. I want to make it more of a more robust game than just a straight mobile port. So,
Yeah,
but I am
do
looking.
it in VR.
I can. It's funny. I have a whole host load of VR equipment here. Let's see here. Let's go. I want to use this. Let's see here.
Yeah, once you're finished with this game, I want to kind of see some of the options in the main menu, just to kind of look over it, so people can kind of have a preview on the game itself. And now, is this game out already on?
Yes, it's out for the mobile for iOS and Android. Yes.
Okay, so let me check that out.
Yep, you can go to cutthroatcaverns.com or smirkanddagger.com, and you can go to, and that gives you the ability to purchase the actual wonderful card game, which got me addicted to this. as well as the mobile version.
All right. Can we go to the Play Store as well?
Yeah, you can go to Play Store.
Okay, let me check that out. Cutthroat. So, I know you guys said that, like Curt was saying earlier, before he decided to take on the challenge with you, this game, that there were a lot of failures. Give me the top 2 failures that you encountered from other developers, Curt.
Well,
I had it. I had the game. I had it.
you don't. Let's see. So I guess the biggest problem was that when certain developers realized it was not programming one app, but programming 27 apps, that's where quite a number of them stalled or bailed. But the other really important thing was I don't know that they were up to the task of doing what I really wanted for this, and that is in a solo game which is so emotionally driven. How can I make a player feel like they're actually at the table with 3 other backstabby friends who are doing terrible things to them, and like James is doing right here, like yelling at them for doing the things. Like, that is actually what I needed for this game to do. And getting that done was not an easy thing. Now, I had been demoing this game for probably 8 to 10 years. I've seen every kind of personality type hit the table, and everyone's got their own unique play style, but they tend to fall into categories. There's someone who is just like a peacemaker, just wants to, like, I don't want to make any waves, I want to survive, and I'll just do what I have to when I have to. Someone is like, they are they're the revenge person. If you mess with me, I am coming for you. I don't care about anything else. You are dead. There's someone that is, they walk into the game with a grudge. One of my friends, doesn't matter what game we play, he wants me just crushed. So there are lots of different things that occur in this game in the traditional sense, that for this app to actually work, we really needed them to feel that way, even though you're facing AIs. They had to feel human. They had to act in emotional ways, not just logical ways. And that is probably the biggest thing that you just died.
I know. I had big prestige though.
Yeah, that was the biggest challenge, and that is the thing I am most proud of. James, the Cellbloc team just did an amazing job in figuring out a way to essentially create an emotional AI.
Yeah, because we had
and not just one of them,
AIs.
6 of them.
Yeah. Yeah. They all had their own quirks.
Yeah. In fact,
I
you know what?
swear I'm not playing the game. I swear.
Yeah. Actually, James, here, switch up, because I've got sure. The architecture.
Cool. And like,
hang on, I'm not hearing somebody.
Kimmiko, I think you dropped out.
No, she's.
I think my mic's dying.
You're back.
Okay.
All right.
So the
So
question
what we're
was.
looking at. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, sorry. The quick question was, what I wanted to give shout outs to the artists. Like, can you tell us a little bit about the artists as well?
Oh, so the artist, it's not just one. There are several artists that have contributed to Cutthroat Caverns, and typically I found, an amazing artist that had like this. Yeah, I honestly, almost every image is done by a different artist. But Lindsay Look did the characters for the most recent game, and but all of the cards carry the name of the artist. There are now 120 creatures in the game, and there are a couple of artists that have done more than one. But quite honestly, there's a lot of ones that were just like it was just one artist per card. So yeah, really great stuff.
Fight.
So up on your screen right now, by the way, this is kind of how we got to the AIs and their emotional backgrounds. I was able to like verbally express the different types of people I see at the table and how they react. And then James was able to like group those into some keywords. So like a helpful AI. So prioritizes acts that will most help the party, even if that might hurt their chances of winning. And then there's the vengeful. Prioritizes screw the player or players that screwed them the most or most recently did so. And there's cruel. Always damages the player with the lowest health, trying to eliminate them. So we created all these different buckets. And then what I thought was genius, and James, you can talk more about this, each of the characters isn't just one of those things. Each of the characters is a combination of them ranked in order.
Yes.
So Idane starts as ambitious and then eventually gets down. Everyone is chaotic at the end, which is like the human factor where they just do something unexpected that you're like, I don't even understand. Like people will do that and they'll surprise you. And so it's never just logical when people play, it's emotional. And this is how we got emotional AI. So James, why don't you take over here?
Sure. So, as an example, so you have think of it like a cleric playing in like Dungeons and Dragons. So the cleric is supposed to be helpful and always healing everything. But by the end of the campaign, he's like, "Screw you guys, I'm out of here." And that's the chaotic aspect of it. So what I had to do was I had to at some point move from ambitious to helpful to violent to cautious to vengeful, cruel, and chaotic, depending on how the cards are being played. So they all had different weight values. And every time there was a card that's actually played, we kind of put cards into their stats or bucket, if you will. And when they hit that threshold, we kind of pushed that AI over to this aspect. So there are many different trees that we had for each character. So depending on how a card is played, we have to go check all the possible cards, whether they were going to counter-strike and have to check to see what people are doing already. And the game never cheats. In other words, it never looks at another player's card stack to see where they're going to be. It does actually take the games, there we go, in face value. Okay? Now, it doesn't count cards either. So it's kind of like always looking at a snapshot of what that encounter is, as well as, and this is the key thing, the previous encounter. So, if I happen to give a character, I offer a healing potion, and they took it, I know, based upon how the AI is going to be at that time, there's a possibility they may offer me a healing potion in the next round, depending on where they are in that threshold bucket. And here's a little bit.
You created a positive. You did something for me. I'm going to do something back for you because that's what humans do.
We try to mimic human behaviors, and then by the end, everybody was for themselves.
Wow, this is so fun. I'm gonna give a chance for anyone who's watching and thank.
She broke out again. Yeah, really. Nope. I heard a click. I thought she was red.
Check. Sorry. Yeah. Did you hear what I said?
No, but go ahead. Try again.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna give a chance for the audience to ask any questions. You're doing an amazing presentation, by the way. I'm totally sold on it. I bought it, and just from my Android, like the graphics look amazing. It's nice, crispy, clean. The buttons are very tactile. I mean, not tactile, but you can definitely touch them and they work. You know how some you try to touch, you're like,
yes.
Oh my god, how many?
Yeah, we spent a lot of time on the interface, and it was a good collaboration effort. We always try to make the game better, so we would have meetings all the time. And it's like, okay, we would just stare at screenshots and talk about screenshots for 3 or 4 hours, and going, okay, then we'll implement it, and then actually try it and go, yeah, this feels right. Is the button too big? Is it too small? Can you read the text? people's thumb sizes. We were trying to get average thumb sizes, and I found out I don't have average size fingers. I have little sausage-like fingers, apparently. And so we're trying to get it and it fits on a mobile phone. And that was the biggest challenge, to bring this huge board game, which can cover a table, especially with getting all these extra what's called tokens out that Curt can probably show you here in a moment, where you're actually fighting literally, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18 characters, 18 encounters at one time. Yeah, so here's an example of a flow path. Go ahead, Curt.
Oh, right. So this, by the way, is this is an NPC AI attack card selection. It's the basic flow path for selecting cards in general. So process start. The player is cued to set an attack card. So that's when it says, here's your hand. What do you want to set? And the first thing is we have to check if it is a particular encounter. One of the 27 is one that you don't want to kill. It's important that we know that. So that's the first thing it asks. Is this something you want to kill or not? Assuming it's not gas bag, well, so and here it is. Will defeating the encounter handicap a player in the next round? If it's gas bag, it will. Otherwise, we're going to go over here. Would defeating the encounter cause a player to lose? Well, no. Go over here. Can a player set enough damage, including riders and actions, to defeat the encounter? Let's say they could not. Come over here. Could someone else defeat the encounter this round? And we generally say, well, if it's got less than 130, yes, that is possible. So, and it keeps on going around. So there are all these different decisions that the AI is making in milliseconds, which are the exact same decisions that you as a live player make, whether you realize it or not. And that was the crazy part for me, because I've played this game forever. And actually segmenting all those decisions out into what you actually have to consider was mind-boggling. Yeah. So this is the flowchart for the playing of any card. But we've got another flowchart for each card, because based on your situation, the encounter, and what AI you are, that one card might have several different uses. Am I going to use that card to reduce someone from their 50-point attack to just 25? I probably did that because otherwise they're going to kill the creature. I don't want to do that. I could use that card to double my own attack, and therefore maybe kill the creature. I could use that to double your attack, because I know that'll give you the highest amount of highest swing, and therefore the creature is going to attack you specifically because you swung the hardest. All of these things are things that, based on a whole bunch of facts, have to be decided for that particular card. And
don't forget interrupts.
Yes, exactly.
Oh.
So all of these became just fascinating to me to see James actually dissect gameplay into a flowchart form, and then he would say, "Okay, here's the flowchart. Go ahead, walk through it, see if it makes sense." And of course, I would do that, and
questions. I'd
have questions, or quite honestly, sometimes I'd say, "Yeah, this looks good," and then we'd get into actually like live playing it. And I was like, "No, someone is doing something that they shouldn't. Why is this happening?"
Right.
It felt wrong. Why is this happening? And then we had to debug it and figure out where in this flowchart they were taking a course of action that didn't feel like a human player.
And speaking of which, David Jones on YouTube asks about plans for multiplayer, which I believe everyone's been asking.
So we thought about it. Now, as I mentioned, when I built the game, I built it because of my friends. I built it with the understanding that I wanted to play this game. And I was looking forward to that. And I was like, okay, how am I going to do this? Now, I don't play a whole lot of multiplayer games online. It's not a genre that I'm really into. Okay, it's not a thing I do. I grew up at a different age where I had my Commodore 64, my Atari 2600, and it was just me, the television, and my device, and that was it. I was in my own world. I didn't have conversations or friends. That, and I grew up in Alaska. There's a lot of open space, so there's not a whole lot of people to be going and playing with, and going outside could be death when it's cold. So I stayed inside and I played video games, and that was my alone time. Now,
but that's not why.
now, we couldn't come to an understanding. When I said we wanted multiplayer. Okay, we wanted pass and play. We wanted to try different things. But one of the biggest things we had was, what do we do when a person leaves? As you see, when playing the game, people can interrupt. So as you saw, I was trying to play my 25, and I was going to rotate it to, my 20. I was going to rotate it to 50, and I was going to kill the creature. Now, when I did that, another person got to play another card in the middle of my turn. Okay, which half the damage, so I was unable to have the damage to kill the player. That's called an interrupt. Okay, so interrupts can happen like a chain event. So in this, looking at the screenshot right here, if I'm playing Vasha, number 1, I play a card. Okay, number 2, or anybody, could now play another card to hurt mine, and then number 3 could also throw to cancel the card that was just played, and then 4 can come in, and so even though it's my turn, I can have all these other different incoming cards coming in, and start having more craziness that can happen. So
in fact, every action in the game can be interrupted
and canceled. Yes,
and canceled. So therefore, it's not a turn-based system, and having the lag that you would eventually you'd get it. There is you'd have to wait forever to play a turn. Always checking in. The system will have to check in and say, do you want to prevent this thing?
Yes.
And it would have been burdened.
If you see in the corner, I have a timer, okay? And that timer only gives you, I can't remember, 3 or 5 seconds. We've played with that timer to see how long it takes. It's a little blue thing that goes around there. Basically, you want to skip the turn, you want to do that action. And, people, if you're on their phone, that phone is also a handheld computer. So they're checking email, they're getting phone calls, they're text messaging, and they're not in the game. And we couldn't come to a way we felt that this would work as a multiplayer game until later. So,
yeah. Though
okay.
I think that if we end up going to a system that is more game console, then I think there is more likelihood that we can actually have that work, because people are on headsets, they're more engaged with each other, and therefore it makes a lot more sense.
Which is what we talked about with the Switch. So, I can put it out on the Switch, Xbox, and PlayStation. That's not a big deal. I've already got the account set up for that. And therefore, that would be a better opportunity to use multiplayer than having it on the person's personal device phone. Yeah. That would probably be interrupted all the time.
Okay. I was gonna ask also, would you consider maybe a leaderboard system or something, or some type of tournament? What kind of, do you have any options or ideas for maybe a competitive way of playing with single player the way you guys are doing now, or anything at that?
Curt at Gen Con actually has tournaments that he can speak about. And we were designed a system for tournament play, and it's already kind of there, so we can pre-populate the cards. If you're going to tournament, we give you a specific set of cards to work with, and the system's already in there. And we do have leaderboard and achievements in both the iOS and the Android version. We just haven't put in tournament play, but it's one of those things it's not too difficult to put in there. But we would have to figure out the brackets of how to do that. But otherwise, yes, it's possible.
So, in the future, we'll start off with Curt, since he's the lovely creator and designer. Do you have any kind of future ideas or plans for this app as it grows, and also any kind words or advice or cutthroat words to say to the fellow viewers and anyone who would like to try to create either a card game or app game, sort of like this, where opportunity cost is there.
So, two questions. So I'll take the first one. What would I like to see from Cutthroat Caverns in the future? Well, I think obviously, like I said, there's been 5 different expansions on this game now, and the most important aspect of those are really just more creatures, more interesting ways to engage and mess with people. But then we had specific player powers. We even had a really interesting way to incorporate a narrative story arc. So it's kind of a choose your own path adventure story where the decisions you make matter to the outcome, but also when you get to an encounter, that's where the game kicks in and you now face the encounter, playing Cutthroat Caverns itself. I think there's a lot of opportunity, especially I think in console gaming, to take this game and make it even more immersive, more like the card game itself, where people are actually talking and interacting and playing multiplayer. I would love to see that happen. It'll take a little doing, but yeah, that's what I love. And to people who have ideas for games, whether they be digital or whether they be card games, the barriers to entry are lower than they've ever been. When I started in this business, there was no Kickstarter. There was there's very little, even in terms of online resources to learn about the industry. And now you've got all kinds of organizations and groups that are there to teach you, to give back to the community and show you the ropes. Kickstarter, where instead of putting my house on second mortgage, you can actually reach out and crowdsource the funding. It's an amazing opportunity. Now that said, it's not necessarily to be taken lightly. Absolutely go and create your game, but once you start committing real money towards it, understand it's not really just a hobby at that point. It's becoming a business, and you have to be ready for all that entails.
What about you, James?
Which question?
I have bad in memory. So,
what I would like to see with this game is I would like to add the expansions, and I really would like to add multiplayer. I said I couldn't find a good solution that I felt comfortable with, and same with Curt. We couldn't figure out a good solution of how to have the game play and feel like you were with something, like you were at the table playing with people, and that kind of has bothered me. Just because you kind of always have to be focused with it, and unfortunately, even my phone, I must have had 30 messages in the last 15 minutes, and you saw my messenger on the bottom right. I'm giving a presentation; it's just constantly throwing things up. So I'm constantly interrupted. Now, if I'm sitting in front of a game console like an Xbox, PlayStation, or Switch, completely different story. I'm not having all these different notifications going off. I'm not having my mind segmented to another aspect. So I would like to see multiplayer put into this, as well as the expansion packs. I know the Relics expansion packs is something that I do wish to put into there at some point. That, and I don't want to say I'm tired of the encounters that I've been playing, but as you see, I'm playing them, and I was so close with that last one. I had 6 prestige, and no one else had anything, and I died. But I still had a wonderful time, and when we're done with this, I'm going to jump back in and play it again. I play it on my phone. It's been out for a while now, and I still play it. Maybe I know definitely at least twice a month, if not once a week. This is one of those. I was like, this just feels really good, and I'd like to go ahead and expand upon that. But at the same time, when you expand upon something, I got to keep in mind the real estate. And Curt can talk about this screen specifically. You're not just fighting one encounter. You're fighting 12 encounters. How do I say that attack 40 is going to attack that top left warrior, Bugans? So
there are a lot of things that you can do in a card game and describe easily enough, but once it gets to a very tight space, figuring out the user interface, that's a lot of the challenge here. So yeah, this was the most challenging of them all with the Boogans. But there are some that, we may not be able to port just because it's just got too much stuff. But yeah, I look forward to being able to add more content. So for sure.
That answer your question?
And the last question was there any advice to any aspiring Unity developers who are looking to build from a concept idea like this to a digital format?
Well, for me, it was a passion. I reached out to Curt, and he's like, he's heard the story 3 other times. That's like, okay. And, I know his expectations at that point were not very high. And I've always had just my mentality is just get it done. It's just data. It's one of those never give up, never surrender. I think Galaxy Quest also says it. Failure is not an option. That's true. I mean, this is something I know I wanted to bring to market. This wasn't a Kickstarter. This wasn't an Indiegogo. This was self-funded because I wanted to see, and Curt obviously wanted to see this really fulfilled. And I know after our first or second meeting, he was like, guys, you guys have already pushed further than the other companies already have. So, he was excited. I was excited. No one was sleeping. I'm playtesting this every night. So for Unity developers, you have to have a passion for what you're doing. You're getting into a hobby. It is a hobby. You're not making money off of it. It is a hobby. But you have to have a passion for what you want to build. Curt obviously loves board games. He's run a successful business building these different board games, and I'm very happy to be part of this side of it. Building the digital aspects of it. And as Unity developers, you can build whatever you want. Just find something that you really want to bring to life. Don't try to build MMOs. Don't try to build these big gigantic worlds like Skyrim and everything. Start with something small that you can work with. I tell people all the time to build essentially a Pong, a Asteroid, and Super Breakout. Build those 3 games first before you build anything, because that will give you the knowledge to build just about any other game you want.
It's interesting.
So, can Curt give us how we can reach you and or get to the game, and then also same for you, James?
Sure. Well, you can absolutely go and get a copy of the app version of the game by going to cutthroatcaverns.com or just searching for Cutthroat Caverns on iOS or the Google Play Store. If you're interested in our other games that are conventional board games, then smirkanddagger.com is the place to go.
Yeah, trust me, I told you, I bought the board game first, so buy the board game, because I had an absolute wonderful time with my friends. And we're looking forward to playing more as soon as this pandemic thing is over.
Yeah.
How do we reach you, James? Do you guys have any Instagrams, anything like that?
I used to work for a small company called MySpace, so when I used to work for MySpace, I'm social networked out, so I'm not you can find me on Facebook.
Can we find you on MySpace?
LinkedIn, how about that?
I'm on LinkedIn, yes.
Okay.
So you can find me at cellbloc.com, that's CELLBLOC.com. That's my game company that I have built. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, not Instagram, I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn. I don't really do the Twitter thing. I don't understand it yet. Mm-hmm. So, heck, I'm still trying to figure out this. What are we in here? Discord.
Discord is a wonderful thing. I love it.
It seems to be nice.
It is great. Okay, so Andrew, are you here?
Yeah, great stuff tonight.
You probably bailed already.
No, he's in here.
Thank
He's
you
like,
all. That was a
James
wonderful
talks too much.
That was a great. Thank you all, everyone. That was a great presentation. Much appreciated. Come and join James again Saturday, 4 p.m. Right, James?
Yeah, we're gonna make a game in Unity.
And if you want to get your
Yay.
Unity chops up or just refresh it, he'll be the one to show you how to do it. Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern, we will have how to be a game tester, so you can test games like Cutthroat Cavern and give great feedback. And we'll be back with more of these showcases in the future. Remember to check out all the Smirk and Dagger titles. And with that, we will bid you adieu. RPG Kid, you're here with us. Do you want to say goodnight to everybody?
Good night.
So long, everybody.
All right, take care.
Good
all.
night.
Bye bye.
All right, we are out. You will see the placeholder